We are constantly lectured. Be kind, be generous, put others' needs ahead of your own. But what if this societal virtue is, in fact, the greatest vulnerability you possess? What if this relentless drive to be nice is systematically eroding your wealth, your time, your emotional energy, and ultimately your very self-worth? This isn't cynicism. This is a critical psychological intervention. For those who feel drained, used, or abused by their own generosity, this message is for you. You have been taught a lie, that weakness masquerading as kindness is a virtue. The truth, according to the toughest philosophers, is that weak boundaries attract predators. Today, we are not discussing the softness of niceness. We are discussing the 10 laws of self-command, the iron principles that define the line between genuine virtue and self-destruction. When you internalize these laws, you build an unshakable inner wall, securing the edge against the world's exploitation. We begin now. 1. The law of unmet reciprocity, the poison of high hopes. The Stoics taught us to accept things as they are and not to depend on the actions of others for our happiness. Yet, when you give everything you have, a toxic subconscious contract is formed. You expect, perhaps even demand, reciprocity. This is the law of unmet reciprocity, the psychological reality. When your expectations are not met, which they almost certainly will not be, you are left with bitterness, exhaustion, and anger. You believe people are letting you down. They are not. They are simply acting in their own self-interest, a basic survival mechanism you, ironically, have neglected. Seneca warned against giving with a heavy heart. Giving should be an act of freedom, not an investment demanding interest. When you give to your detriment, you set yourself up for inevitable psychological injury. 2. The law of habitual consumption, the addiction of the receiver. People are creatures of habit. This is an immutable law of psychology. If you establish a pattern of constant, unconditional giving, the people you help will adapt to this pattern. You lead them straight into their comfort zones. They won't have to perform many of their responsibilities, because you will always be there to fill the void. The danger of enabling. You are not helping them, you are cultivating weakness in them and resentment in yourself. The person who constantly receives never learns self-reliance. Your endless giving becomes their expectation, their right, and eventually their addiction. The moment you use the magic word, no, they will not see a person setting a boundary. They will see a resource being withdrawn. This law teaches you that true kindness is not enabling dependency, but encouraging self-reliance. 3. The law of empty goals, the cost of inner avoidance. If you consistently put everyone else's needs before your own, if your entire weekend is spent solving other people's problems, you may be running from a deeper pain inside you. Self-sacrifice can become a sophisticated avoidance mechanism. The inner audit. How do you feel when you spend a quiet weekend alone? Do you jump to serve others because you genuinely enjoy the act, or because the thought of facing yourself, your own regrets, your own silence, your own lack of purpose is more frightening? If you are serving others to avoid yourself, the blow will be twice as hard. First, because you must face yourself eventually, and second, because your emotional energy is exhausted. Self-care is not a luxury, it is a duty. Before you can clean a friend's house, you must ensure your own inner citadel is clean, fortified, and at peace. 4. The law of perceived weakness, the contempt of the exploiter. Stoicism commands us to work on being strong and in command of ourselves. By setting limits and practicing self-discipline, we earn respect. Conversely, relentless compliance is often interpreted as a fundamental lack of self-worth. The social dynamic. If you help others too much, people will come to see you as weak as the path of least resistance. You become a tool, not a respected partner. The moment you finally use the necessary word, no, They will not suddenly appreciate your prior efforts. They will feel a surprising emotion they never thought they would feel for you. Respect, but only because you have finally enforced a cost to your time. Until then, you are just a convenient function, a butler of favors. You cannot demand respect. You must command it by defining what is unacceptable. 5. The law of energy matching, attracting emotional vampires. The universe operates on the principle of vibrational alignment. If you are constantly giving to everyone, you are losing massive amounts of energy, both time and emotional bandwidth. This energy loss causes you to vibrate at a lower frequency, the vampire draw. This lower, depleted frequency does not attract positive reciprocal relationships. Instead, it acts as a magnet for needy individuals, opportunists, and emotional vampires, people who lack their own internal energy and look to drain yours. You will find yourself surrounded by those who only want to take, never those who want to give. By prioritizing your own energetic and spiritual self-preservation, you raise your frequency, naturally repelling the energy thieves and attracting those who seek true, balanced connection. 6. The law of silent contempt. Setting the standard of value. If you don't value yourself, no one else has a logical reason to value you. You cannot outsource your self-worth and then be surprised when others fail to pay the emotional bill. The edge of self-worth. True Stoic living dictates that your intrinsic value is non-negotiable. If you allow people to trample your boundaries, to take your time without respect, or to assume your availability, they are simply adhering to the value you have implicitly assigned yourself. No one will look you in the eyes and tell you to think more about yourself. They will simply stick to the convenient relationship pattern you have established. Your task is to set a high, firm, unwavering standard. Only when you demonstrate respect for your own time will others reluctantly follow suit. 7. The law of reactive living. The cost of goal diversion. Your goals, your vision, and your trajectory are the most sacred assets you possess. Allowing others' needs to constantly derail your focused path is the ultimate act of self-betrayal. The strategic imperative. Every time you say yes to a low-priority request from someone else, you are saying no to a high-priority command from your own future self. Seneca advised us not to waste time on trivialities. When you live reactively, responding only to the demands and dramas of the external world, you become a puppet. The constant diversion of your energy means your own goals are perpetually ignored. Your life is not an endless service line. It is a mission. Prioritize your mission above all external clamor. The law of the invisible boundary. The power of the final word. The inability to use the word no is the single greatest weakness in the modern world. It is the failure to set the invisible boundary that defines where you end and others begin. The psychological freedom. Following the lessons of the Stoics, you must realize that your time and energy are finite and need to be used with strategic balance. Self-control is shown by the ability to say no when you feel overwhelmed or when the request is fundamentally unfair. Though no may feel aggressive, it is the only way to regain your freedom and avoid unnecessary, self-inflicted risks. Practice this word. Internalize it. It is the sound of your personal sovereignty. 9. The law of intentional self-focus. Self-care as duty. Reframing self-care from a luxury to a non-negotiable duty is vital for maintaining resilience. You cannot draw water from an empty well. The Stoic duty. Before you offer to clean a friend's house, you must ensure your own inner house is clean, fortified, and at peace. Before you can offer emotional strength to another, you must be happy, well-rested, and well-nourished yourself. This is not selfishness. This is fundamental maintenance required by the laws of physics and psychology. You must schedule time for yourself, time for exercise, reflection, or simple rest, and treat this time as seriously as you would a business meeting with an emperor. This is a command, not a suggestion. 10. The law of the middle way, the gray zone of generosity. According to Stoic wisdom, the best measure for everything is always the middle ground. Generosity is no exception. If we give too little, we are seen as selfish, but if we give excessively, we end up completely drained of energy, time, and resources, which is the ultimate failure of responsibility. The forge of wisdom. Lean toward the gray zone, the balanced path between complete selfishness and total self-destruction. The wise person chooses to help, but with prudence, setting limits, and always maintaining their own non-negotiable core integrity. If you are unsure, remember the law of the invisible boundary, and use the magic word, no. This is how you fulfill your duties to humanity, while fulfilling your absolute, primary duty to yourself. You have consumed the 10 laws. You have the blueprint to stop the exploitation and to forge the edge of an unshakable mind. But knowing the laws and living the laws are two different commands. Now, I ask you, what is the one law you will commit to master tomorrow? Declare your allegiance. Let us know which of these 10 laws is the most crucial for your current battle against chaos. If you are serious about forging an unbreakable mind, you cannot afford to miss the next command. The lessons we teach here are not for the mediocre. They are for those who seek the edge, those who choose discipline over comfort. Join the forge. Subscribe to The Edge now. Don't leave your growth to chance. Comment "I command" below and tell us the one law you will master first. Declare your intent to the community. Like this video as your final commitment to today's wisdom. The time for mere consumption is over. The time for command is now.